And we are live. Hi everyone, it's Laura Volpes and I am back with another live here on my YouTube channel. I have done a couple of live streams during lockdown times basically, and they were a lot of fun. And I also do Facebook lives on the Studio Katia Facebook page. So since those are a lot of fun and I find them like an awesome way to connect to people and chat and also keep each other company in a way, I just thought I would try them here on my YouTube channel. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pull the live on my phone here so that I can see your comments. Make sure to say hi if you want, share where you're watching from, and I really hope this will be something you will enjoy. I'm planning to do the live streams bi-weekly for now, and then we'll see how it goes. We'll see if you guys actually like them, and also, you know, based on how much time I have to actually do the lives. So I can see there are people already. Just a brief introduction to some of the supplies that I'll be using today. They are listed and linked in the description box down below, and anything that is not there yet will be added after the live stream ends because, well, you know, I have somewhat a plan for the card, but I can always, you know, add more supplies, and then afterwards I'll make sure to add them as well. Anyway, the stamp set that I'll be using today is by Mama Elephant and it's absolutely adorable. It's called Little Agenda Spaceship, and I just had to get it because I don't know if you guys know it, but I have a background in astrophysics, so when I saw this it had to be mine. I'm going to make a slimline card and I'm going to use two sets of dies. One is by Fawn and it's called Large Slimline with Slider. We're not going to use the interactive part for that. But then we are going to pair it with this other die set by Mama Elephant. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, sorry about that. It's listed in the description box down below. I'm also going to use distressed oxide sprays to create kind of a galaxy slash nighttime sky background, and then I'm going to use my Illustrator alcohol markers for my coloring. Also, you know, if you guys want to share the video so that more people join, that would be great and I'd be thankful, but otherwise we're plenty, I'm sure, and we'll have fun. I hope I am able to read your comments. Again, make sure to say hi so that I know that you are there. And now we can start with the card. I did some die cutting off camera already. I have some watercolor cardstock by Spectrum Noir here, and I die cut it with the scalloped rectangle in this Mama Elephant die set. So we have the base for our sky background. What I'm going to do now is I am going to very quickly create, as I said, a background using Distress Oxide sprays. I am just going to take a sheet, like a scrap piece of paper here, basically just because I want to be able to move this out away from my area once I'm done spraying the Distress Oxide sprays and while they are drying. So the colors that I picked are Chipped Sapphire, Picked Raspberry, Wilted Violet and Cracked Pistachio. This is a combination that I like a lot when it comes to kind of galaxy background color combos. I usually add in peacock feathers as well, and oftentimes I also switch the Chipped Sapphire with Blueprint Sketch. As I'm chatting, I'm just, you know, shaking the bottles here, and because basically you want to, well, you want to give this sprays a good mix. All right, so I'm going to start with Chipped Sapphire and I'm going to spray it on my background, and then I'm going to fill the rest with Wilted Violet, and actually I think, come to think of it, I am going to skip the peacock feathers for one reason, that is, if it goes anywhere where I have my pink or my blue, it's going to create a muddy effect, and I don't want that. I want my background to be nice and bright, so I'm just going to stick with Wilted Violet, Picked Raspberry, and Chipped Sapphire. So you can see it's actually very, very quick to create this background. You could let it, you could air dry it with a heat gun, but I think I'll just leave it at that, and I'm going to put this aside, and then I can work on my images and the rest of my card in the meantime. If it hasn't dried by the time I am done coloring, then I'll definitely use my heat gun. Alright, so that's aside. And then I'm just going to quickly clean my surface here. I'm going to take my Misty as well as some Neenah Solar White 110 pounds cardstock. I always try and prepare everything beforehand, but there is always something that's missing. But anyway, I just need to take some Neenah Solar White cardstock here, and I'm going to trim it down with my trimmer, just so that it basically fits, or even just with my scissors. Let's be practical, shall we? I'm just going to cut out some cardstock so that it fits within my Misty. Last time I did a live stream, I basically couldn't read anybody's comments, and it was a little bit sad because I I thought nobody was commenting or nobody was saying anything. But it turns out that afterwards I was able to go back and saw that lots of people asked questions and you know, left comments and I just missed them. Okay, so I'm going to do some very easy stamping here. I'm going to use Blackout Ink by Ink on 3. This is hybrid, so it means I can use it with alcohol markers as well as with water-based markers, which is super convenient. I'm going to stamp these two rockets first, and then I'm going to basically finish them up by adding the critters inside, because I mean, these critters are so cute, you guys. Mama elephant stamps are adorable, so I just had to. And then I am going to stamp the third spaceship here, but I'm going to wait because for that I need to do a little bit of masking. So for now I'm going to just take the kitten here, and I'm trying to line it up as best as I can with the spaceship. Hi Luigi. And then I'm going to also position the, let's say, the doggy. Ciao Luigi, welcome, thanks for tuning in. All right. So let's hope I line them up correctly, and then I can go ahead and stamp them. Oh yes, it's so adorable, so cute. Okay, and then for the third ship that I'm going to stamp and color today, I want the little bunny rabbit, but for that I need to first stamp him. I'm being very bad because I'm not even cleaning my stamps. Anyway, I'm going to stamp the rabbit, and then I'm going to stamp him well, you could use really some masking tape, but some masking paper, and actually I happen to have some Heavy Doodle memo tape here, which is perfect for masking. Sorry, I was just a little bit perplexed because I don't know why there is like an eyebrow here on the rabbit, but oh well. So I basically used whatever ink was left on my stamp to stamp the image on this memo tape. So this is just some low-tack tape that you can use for masking, and I am just going to cut out the image so that I can create a mask, and I don't have to be super precise because I just want to mask basically the shape of his head, and that's it. So the rest I'm not going to you know, be too fussy about. And then I can place it on top. I hope this is zoomed in enough. Maybe when I do the coloring I'll try and zoom in a little bit more, but right now, because I have the mask placed on the rabbit here, I can go ahead and position the spaceship as I want it to be, and then I can just ink up my stamp and stamp it again. Well, not again, but stamp it on top, and wherever we have the mask, obviously we are protecting the image that's underneath, and you will see now, as soon as I remove the mask, this bunny basically will look like as if he's in the foreground. And that's it. That's the stamping for today, and now it's time to color these images. I'm going to be using Illustrator alcohol markers for the coloring today, and it's going to be some quick and easy coloring. Just trimming off the excess paper I don't need, and let me just... No, I wanted to zoom in, but I think this should be all right. I'm grabbing my colors here, my alcohol markers, and I'm going to basically color in the critters with very light colors because I want them to look nice and soft. For the dog here, I'm going to use RB2. And because the image is so small, I think I will even get away without using 3 markers, so I'm going to use just 2. And then I'm going to blend that with RB1. Just going in with the second layer with this RB2 to get just a little bit more contrast, but I don't want the images to end up being too dark, as I said. So that's my dog here. Then for the kitten, I'm going to use BG3. Sorry, this was BG1. I'm going to start with BG3. I have switched the caps, that's why I got confused. Does this happen to you guys too? Anyway, so we have BG3. And then I can blend that out with BG1. And like I did for the dog, I'm going to go in with 1 extra layer of that BG3 just to get a little bit more shading and a little bit more contrast. And that's it. For the bunny, I think I am going to use, let's see, I'm just going to use some cool grays. So for the cat, I used some warm grays, and for the bunny, I'm just going to try with some cool grays. Let's see. And I'm actually not going to fill him up completely, but I am going to leave him mostly white. I'm just adding a little bit of shading to create dimension and depth, and that's it. So this is a colorless blender which helps me blend my markers into white, and I want to try honestly and get rid of that eyebrow. So I'm coming in with my white gel pen and I'm going over that area, and once the white gel pen has dried, I can actually color over it very quickly and a little bit carefully with my alcohol markers, and that should hide the presence of that line well enough. So for the space shifts, I am going to use some teal blues. I think I'm going to go for teal blues and kind of mint greens, so a bit of a complementary color palette compared to what I have on the background. I don't know why, but every time I look at rockets or spaceships, like in my mind, they are red. So I tend to always color them like that, but today I wanted to do something a little bit different. So let's see what it will look like in the end. So we have BT7 here as my darkest marker for now, but I may just come in with a little bit of BT9 if need be. And the next one is BT5. I'm going to add a little bit here as well to create some cast shadow, and I'm going around the stars because I'm going to color those with some yellow markers. The next color is BT3, and I'm going to use it to cover the entire surface. So I was thinking, when I did the poll asking if people would be interested in live videos, a lot of you said yes, but some said that they prefer kind of you know, tutorial type videos that last 10-15 minutes or so. And for that reason I was thinking that it could be a good idea to maybe edit the live streams once they're done, and then upload maybe the week after a video tutorial for that card using the same footage. But I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Would that be useful or not so much? Like, honestly, I am debating that as well, because I'm doing the live streams with my webcam and I use different cameras for my tutorials, and I have this like multi-angle tutorials, so I'm not sure. But you know, obviously I do want to I would like to know your opinion, because that is always useful. So here I'm going to use some magentas for the rest of the details on this spaceship. So I'm starting with MG3, which will be my darker color most likely. Oh, I really love this color combination where you have teal blues and hot pinks. It's one of my absolute favorites. And then I'm going to blend that out with MG2. And then the last one will be MG1. At this point I'm not really thinking about light sources, to be honest. I'll be just adding some blending and some shading kind of spontaneously, if you will. But obviously if you preferred, you could decide where your light is coming from in your card and just have all the shading according to that. In this case I will not have let's say an obvious light source, in the sense that I'm not planning to add like a moon or anything like that, so I don't need to worry about light source. I'm coming in just with a little bit of MG4 there to get just a little bit more shading here. And then I can grab my yellows and my oranges for the stars and the fire there. So I think these stamps are so cute, and I don't know why, but I totally see them like for a baby card, to be honest. I think they're really precious. And I don't know, or even to make little like home decor for a nursery. Like Mama Elephant has such adorable images, you know, and yeah, they always make me think about, you know, baby cards in a way. So this was B01, and now I'm moving into CT4, and then we have CT2 for my yellows. I am using an orange to add some shading to my yellows because I think that creates a little bit more depth. And then for the fire, for the outer part, I'm actually going to use some oranges. I always get confused which part is darker and which part is lighter for the fire, but I try and think about an actual fire, you know, like where the hottest part is at the center, which means it's the lighter one. So that's how I sort of remember that. This was OR3, and then I'm going to add OR1 to blend it out, and then I'm bringing in that B01 yet again for the lightest shade. And this is the first image, all colored. I think it's absolutely precious. For the second one, let's see. I want to spice things up a little bit in the sense that I want to have different colors, and for that I'm going to use some minty greens. So I am going to start with JG5. Let's do it like this. JG5. And now this will look very green next to the teals. That's why I was debating, because I wanted something slightly more minty, not 100% green, but hopefully we'll make it work. Let's see. So JG5, then we have JG3. And then the last one is JG1. Honestly, this looks much more green than I wanted it to. So JG1 is pretty much like cracked pistachio. But the others are a little bit too green for me, and I'm going to show you a very quick and easy fix for that. Basically, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that alcohol markers are transparent, sorry. So if you layer them on top of each other, you can change the hue a little bit, you can tone them, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm coming in with BT5, so I'm bringing in some more blue in those greens so that again they look more like mint greens than actual greens. So that was BT5, and then I'm going to bring in some BT3 as well. And actually just a little bit of BT7, because that BT5 was a little bit too light. And that's it. That is actually exactly the color I wanted for this ship, so I'm happy. Okay. Oh, this is cute. All right, so I think I will bring in that pink here as well. I want some continuity between the three images, so I think I will color the accents with my MG markers as well. Also because I don't want to, you know, have a ton of markers for this card. So this is MG4, which I'm using for my darkest shade, I should say. And then MG4. So I'm not really asking questions at this point or trying to interact, because I have the suspicion that I don't know, that either I don't read comments, but if that's not the case, as I said, please say hi, say where you're watching from. let's keep each other company during this live stream. What do you say? Let me know if you do have this stamp set, if it's like in your wish list. And also let me know if you can actually see me color, because sometimes I have to get a bit too much on top of the image, I think. Anyway, here for my pinks I used MG3, MG4, and this right now is MG2. I really love these pinks in the Illustrator markers range. They are super cute. Okay, again here with my yellows. This time I'm just going to use 2 for this little star. Oh, hey Laura, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by. No worries. I'm planning to do this every other week, so hopefully, you know, some other time you can join. And obviously everyone, feel free to let me know if like a different time would work for you. Of course, you know, I am streaming from Europe, so your evening is my night time, but if you are in the States or in Canada, but you know, we can adjust time. But I really appreciate you stopping in and saying hi, Laura. Again, for the fire here I have OR3 and then OR2 and BO1. Well, sorry, OR1 and BO1. And also, if you guys want me to, I'll be happy to write the list of markers that I used in the description box. Now here we have the glass, and for that I'm going to try and create an effect of sort of transparency slash translucency. Is that the word? So I am taking my B3 marker and I am drawing in a C shape, and I am going on top of the cat for the same reason as before, as I mentioned earlier. Like if I layer my Illustrator markers, they will tone down whatever is underneath. And so by having a very light layer of BT1 marker on top of the cat, it's going to give the impression that it's actually behind glass. I'm also leaving a little bit of a white area there because that's going to be the reflection in the glass, and then just emphasizing this little C shape here with my B3 marker. So that's it, that's very simple. You just want to be quite light-handed when you go on top of whatever you have underneath, in this case the cat, but the same will be here where we have the bunny, because otherwise, you know, you will basically turn the cat blue. Because yes, they are translucent, but they sort of also erase each other in a way. So if you add too many layers, you will actually not see, you will blend away effectively the grays that you have on the cat. So here let's do the following. I'm going to have the main body of the ship being pink. So again, starting with MG4 and adding my shading. Then I am going in with MG3 and lastly with MG2. And that's it for the body of our ship. And then for the top part, I'm going to use again my mint color combo, but because I want a little bit of that teal, I think I'll use it here and here. So let's do it like this. I'm gonna start with BT7 here, and I'm going to stick to just 2 markers because it's a very small area. So I'm going to use BT7 and BT5 here. Again, we're going to do what we did earlier. I'm just trying to see how to shade this, starting with JG5. here on the sides and going towards the center. And here I think I want some shading like this, kind of. And also on the other side. Then the next color will be JG3. And actually this is quite darker compared to this one. I used my JG5 marker, so my darker marker, much less conservatively, I would say. But it's fine, it will add some variation. And now we have JG1. Also in this case, because I want to tone this towards a more blue shade, I'm going to layer some BT markers on top. And then that's it. Then we have to basically color in the glass, and we'll do it with the same techniques as before. So here we have BT7, BT5, and then again JG1 to blend everything together and get the smooth and nice and soft gradient. All right, for the lights I'm going to use again CT2 and CT4. Well, I mean, you could literally get away with just one marker. Actually, it didn't really make a difference, the second marker that I used. So here we have a shape like this. So I'm going to follow the curve on the bottom here with my BT3 marker, and then here I'm going to follow this curve. So I'm almost creating a wedge, but it continues in the horizontal direction. And then I'm going to come in with my BT1 marker, and I'm going to blend everything, again leaving a little bit of a white highlight, which we can emphasize later also with a white gel pen. So you can see what I meant here. For example, because my bunny was pretty much white, now he actually looks a little bit too blue. So what I can do is I can come in with my Illustrator blender here and try and blend out a little bit more of that BT1, so that I remove some of it, and I can also add a little bit more IG3. Obviously, now that I have so many layers of colors, I have basically melted away my white gel pen, so I'm going to come back to that later. But that's the coloring basically. Now I really wish I did have the coordinating dies, but I don't, so I'm going to very quickly fussy cut the images with my scissors. If you have something like a scan and cut machine, of course you can use that. Like honestly, for a stamp set like this, I think that coordinating dies are really useful. So here is me yet again regretting not getting the dies. So I'm taking the scraps away, and in the meantime the oxide spray background is almost dry, I would say. So I am cutting my images, leaving a little bit of a white area around them, basically mimicking the look of dies, or like a die cut. The scissors that I'm using are EK Success Cutter B scissors. They are my absolute favorite when it comes to fussy cutting, because they are super sharp, super precise, so they make cutting pretty easy. I also like to hold my scissors straight with my right hand, which is my dominant hand, and then I move the paper instead of moving the scissors, and for that I'm using my left hand. And I have to say that the shapes of these images aren't too intricate, so cutting them is quite easy. Again, dice would have made this even easier and faster, but maybe I'll just get them right now. I am waiting for the Mama Elephant release, you guys, to come out, and for the Lawn Fawn one too. They are just wonderful. I have been eagerly checking out all the sneak peeks, all the posts on the Mama Elephant and Lawn Fawn blogs, and I'm so excited. It's gonna be an expensive September. All right, and also, do you guys make Halloween cards? Because I just started my Halloween card making series here on YouTube. I had a video last week, and I'm planning to make more, but I'm always curious about Halloween cards and Halloween card making, because where I'm from, we don't celebrate Halloween, and also where I live, I think it's celebrated rather marginally. It's not traditional. So, I mean, I don't really have anybody to give Halloween cards to, but they are so fun for me to create. So I always have at least a couple every year. Last year, actually, I made very few, and I was really sad because, as I said, they're a lot of fun to make. But anyway, hopefully this year I'll have more. I was actually digging through my stash of stamp sets today, and I just found an MFT stamp set with ghosts that I have and that I completely forgot about. So maybe I'll feature that. I don't know. I have to see. I also am really regretting not having bought the Little Mummy Agenda by Mama Elephant when I got this stamp set here. So I'm tempted. I know for sure that I'll be placing an order for the new release. So maybe if my budget allows, I will add in a couple extras. Last year I went crazy for the Christmas stamps. Like, literally. I bought so many, and there are still some that I actually haven't used. But, you know, I have been doing this Get Cracking on Christmas with Jen Shirkus every month. So we create a Christmas card per month, and that has given me a good chance to give some love to my craft supplies. Anyway, I'm rambling, you guys. I'm just rambling, but I'm trying to, you know, keep you busy while I finish fussy cutting, which I almost am done with it. So yay, there it is. Our 3 images. Here is my white gel pen. Now that I am done coloring, I can try and hide that little line there, which I didn't want. So now it's time to, well, take our background again. I said it's dry, but it's not 100% dry. I'm just going to dab it with my microfiber cloth so that I just remove the excess. It is still like, I can tell that the cardstock is still a little bit damp, so I am going to just very quickly use my machine here, my heat gun, sorry, to remove some excess moisture. And I'm liking this so far, but I'm going to add a few more details to really spice it up and make it look like a super pretty night sky. The first thing I want to do is to darken up the edges with Distress Ink in Black Soot. So I'm going to take my Distress Ink and my ink blending tool here, and I'm going to go all around the edges because I really want a nice and dark night sky for my images. and that's it. I'm not bothering too much with the lower part of this die cut because that part will be covered. But the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to add some stars. And for that, I am going to use my Gansai Tambistari palette, which is absolutely fantastic. I really love it and I use it a lot, especially during winter and Christmas time, because it has all these shades of gold and silver, and it's fantastic to create stars, to create snowfall, or even to add touches of gold and silver to your Christmas cards, because, you know, I mean, there's never too much sparkle, but definitely even more so when it's about Christmas, at least. That's how I see it. And the thing that I love about this palette too is that it has so many shades of gold, so you can create some variation in your stars too. And I'm going to use, well, they are mixed, so this was champagne gold, and I think this was red gold, and then a little bit of white gold. To create the stars, I am going to use a paintbrush. Hi Elena. Welcome. I'm going to use a little paintbrush here. That's actually, I think I'm going to use a smaller one. So when you create stars, the smaller the paintbrush, the finer your splatters will be, and therefore the smaller the stars. I think, I don't know, I think it looks, I feel like that today. Okay, for some reason my distress sprayer is not okay, spraying very much. All right, so I'm going to try and activate and move the paint with my paintbrush, and then I can create the stars. All right, then we have our yellow gold. I think I'm a bit zoomed out, aren't I? And then I can move on with this red gold. And as I said, I really love all the variation that you get in color when you use this palette. I'm going to move my background a little bit closer to the webcam, and hopefully you can see it a little bit better in all the shimmer and shine. And this was really easy and quick to make, right? Like, we spritzed some Distress Oxide sprays and we let this aside to dry, just a little bit of ink blending on the edges and a little bit of stars. I mean, it really is not difficult. It is very, very quick. And hold on a second, because I just want to zoom in the camera a tiny little bit, but for that I need to get up, because unfortunately my computer is not on the same desk where I craft. All right, so anyway, that was done. We are zoomed in a little bit more now. Hopefully you can see more of what I'm doing. And for the next step, I'm going to work on my card base, but there isn't a lot to do actually. So for that, I just die cut some black cardstock. I used the Lawn Fawn dies here to create this rectangle, this slimline rectangle, and I'm really, really, really loving all the slimline cards that I'm seeing everywhere. So this was the perfect size to create a base for our sky. And then the next item for the background is this sort of skyline that I also created with this die set by Mama Elephant. So I first die cut the black cardstock with the stitched rectangle die from the Lawn Fawn set, and then I die cut out the skyline to create just a little bit of kind of like a glow on On these buildings I'm going to use a white pigment ink. This is it's fantastic, honestly. It is by Fun Stamper's Journey, and it's wonderful for ink blending and for stamping, and I'm going to use it later for stamping too, so you can see it. It is also a wonderful base for heat embossing, but okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I will show you this in a little bit. So I'm using a Studio Katia blending brush, and I'm picking up a little bit, just a little bit of this white pigment ink. This ink pad is really juicy, so a little goes a long way. And I am basically just blending the ink on top of my skyline. I got a little bit of a fingerprint there. It always happens with me, but what can you do? Anyway, so this just creates a little bit of shading, and if you feel like you added too much, you can always do what I am about to do, which is you can take your distress ink in Black Soot and go over the areas that you feel you wanted a little bit more dark. So there it is. I couldn't find my ink blending tool. So here, for example, I have this smudge, which I'm going to hide with my distress ink in Black Soot, and then if I feel like I went too far, I can fix it like that. And that's it, just a little bit of dimension on this die cut as well. We don't need a lot, because I think the silhouette effect is pretty cool too. So the stars are dry enough, let's say, so we can actually we could go ahead and adhere everything, but just to give the stars one more minute to dry out, I'm going to put my background aside and work on my sentiment. I'm going to heat emboss it with white embossing powder, and here is where that white pigment ink sort of comes into play. You will see it in a moment. I just need to grab my black cardstock. I did prepare everything, but then, you know, as I craft, I sort of start piling everything on top of everything else, so no matter how much preparation I do, the result is always messy, but here it is. I just need a scrap. And actually, this here, okay, let's just use this. All right, so I'm removing this image from my Misty, and I am going to take the sentiment. There is a birthday sentiment, and there is a best of luck on your adventure sentiment. Let's go with the second. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to position the stamp in my Misty. As always, I cannot stamp without one anymore. Well, if I ever was able to, but anyway, so I'm trying to line it up more or less with the edge of my cardstock here, and then because I want to do some heat embossing, I'm going to use an anti-static powder tool so that my embossing powder doesn't stick anywhere. Like normally when you do heat embossing, you would use an embossing ink. I like to use the one by scrapbook.com or the one by Wow. They're both great, but a friend of mine, Hilda from I Love Doing All Things Crafty, once taught me a trick, which is to use white pigment ink to stamp under your heat embossed sentiments, because if your powder doesn't stick perfectly, then you have the white pigment ink underneath, and the result will look like your embossing was perfect to begin with. So this is something that I have been doing and that I think works great. And as you can see, this ink stamps really, really great. Like, it's really white against the black, but I'm going to heat emboss the sentiments anyway, because I like the kind of raised edge that you get when you heat emboss, and also because at this point I would need to wait a little bit for the ink to dry before I can actually go ahead and adhere everything, because these pigment inks are very juicy, and that means they take a little bit to dry. So anyway, the embossing powder that I'm using is well, it's new to me in the sense that I usually use regular embossing powder. I don't use extra fine, but I decided to give it a try because I have to admit that I don't always love my heat embossing results, and part of that, especially when you have a fine sentiment, part of the reason for that is that you lose a little bit of detail with regular embossing powder. And so now I have this embossing powder by Ranger, which is the super fine detail, and this is in the color white. So I'm gonna try it. Oh, Jessica, hi! How are you, my friend? Thanks for joining. Alright, so here is the sentiment, and I'm going to just heat emboss it. Like, in principle, you know, it's good if you give your heat gun a minute to dry and to heat up before you try and melt your embossing powder, but I'm going to skip that because I don't want to have this noise for too long. So I'm just going ahead and heat setting my embossing powder. Oh, thank you, Jess. She says she's doing well. She just pulled up YouTube and she saw my live, so she tuned in. So glad you did, and I hope you're doing fine. I hope you're doing all right. I miss you, girl. All right, so I'm grabbing my guillotine trimmer here. This is the large one by Tonic Studios. I would use the small one if I hadn't misplaced it. But what can you do? When you're messy, that's what you get. So I'm just trying to straighten the edges so that I can trim a banner around my sentiment. Oh, me too. Jessie saying she's bummed we won't meet each other at Creativation this year. Yes, me too. It's so sad. I was, you know, like, pretty much since I left Creativation, I was already looking forward to go back the following year, because it's so much fun and it's so amazing to meet everybody. I was so happy that we got to chat a little bit, and I was looking forward to that this year, but meh. Well, 2020 is definitely not one of my favorite years, and I think we all feel the same. Anyway, thank goodness for crafting. It kept us busy and for the most part sane, I would say. So at this point we have everything. We have the images and all our die cuts. I just need to hide the white gel pen here by coloring right over it with my Illustrator marker, and then I can go ahead and adhere everything. Thank you, Jess. It was actually super easy to make the background. She says it's beautiful. It was super easy to make. I made it with Distress Oxide sprays, and I know you like them too. It was literally, I don't know, 3 minutes total. While I chat, I'm trying to locate my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive so that I can glue everything together. You can also use some strong double-sided tape if you wanted to, especially for you know, heavyweight cardstock like watercolor cardstock here. That would help keep everything flat, but I'm not the best at gluing things straight, so I think I will stick to liquid glue. Oh, nice. I'm glad Jessica said she watched the replay. I hope you like it. Let's see. I'm starting this endeavor with live streams on YouTube from this week. So it's also a bummer because we are on such different time zones, so I also miss all your YouTube live streams, Jess. But I watch all your videos, even if I'm terrible at commenting. I promise I watch. And you guys should check out Jessica's channel too, because she's amazing. And her videos are a lot of fun, and her cards are great. Okay, so now we are going to adhere the city line here. And I have purposefully cut this with the rectangle die first rather than with the scallop rectangle, because it would sort of extend the scene a little bit, and it frames the sky even more. And I think this looks really nice, like the contrast with the black die cut and the sky, the texture from the oxides. I'm really liking it. I know I shouldn't blow my own horn, but what can you do? Yeah, I'm also terrible with commenting, but I'm one of those silent followers who never comments but always watches, so always happy when I see one of your videos coming online. Alright, so I think this is pretty much how I am going to lay down my images. Yeah, I think this looks cute. Maybe just shift this slightly. Thanks, Jess. Thank you. I'm not sure with the position of this one. Okay, let's start with what we know. That's what I do usually when I'm kind of debating what to do. I kind of go ahead and start with the things I know for sure. Like I wanted this guy here on the lower right corner, and then I sort of move my way around that. I'm trying to see through the video, honestly, if this looks nice. Okay, let's do it like this. Let's not fidget too much. Thank you, Shini. Thank you so much. She says she likes the city drop against the background. Yeah, and this die set by Mama Elephant is amazing. And honestly, I'm really loving all their Slimline die sets. They are so fun and they are very unique. And I don't know if you guys saw the one that's coming out now with the latest release. It's like a woodland scene, and yeah, I'm going to get that one for sure. I know that already. So here is the sentiment strip, and then it's the last image, and then I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to add a little bit of bling and a little bit of shine, some glossy accents, which will definitely not dry before the live is over, but you know, there will be a picture of this card on my social media. It will also be the new thumbnail for the video, and I'll see, there may be or may not be a blog post for this card. So definitely stay tuned if you want to see the pretty pictures and also how it looks once the glossy accents have dried. Now, we said glossy accents and stickles. Let's try these new ones, which I haven't tried before. These are Icicle Stickers. I'm going to add them. Always try them first on a scrap piece of paper, because you don't want them to explode accidentally on your card. So I'm adding them just in small areas here and there. Let's do it here. And I like also the way Christy from Christy Gets Crafty adds them, because she almost she uses them kind of like this when she adds just a little bit almost on the on the shading of some parts of the images. So let's add a little bit more. What do you say? And these ones here, so I'm used to Crystal Stickers, and these are Icicle Stickers, and I feel they're like, the glitter inside them is a little bit more chunky, which is really nice. Try not to go too much overboard with this, but I think it will be difficult, quite frankly, because I'm loving it. And this tool is also a very handy one. Like in this case, I went a little bit outside the lines, let's say, with my with my Icicle Stickers. So I'm moving them back there. Thank you, Mike. Let's do it here. But let's try and be, no, never mind, that ship sailed. I was gonna say let's try and not to go too overboard with stickers, but that's too late. All right, but I think it's cute. Is it too much? Hopefully not. The next step is to, so this is something that I've learned from Elaine from Pink Peppermint Crafts, I think. I will link her down below. She's amazing, and she uses, well, she did it on like a Halloween card where she added basically, well, what you do with the white gel pen where you add highlights, but she did it with a black pen on a black die cut, which I think is brilliant. I have done this as well on a card that I shared this week actually on my Instagram profile, and that also features Mama Elephant stamps. This exact same die set, but yeah, different stamps. And it's like a birthday card. Now let's hope I don't ruin it by adding crystal glaze to the eyes, which is another of those things that when you see it in videos you don't realize what a difference it makes. And I was always, I don't know, like I saw that a lot of people used it, but as I said, you don't really see the full effect of it on camera. Obviously if you smudge it, that is also not good. Okay, let's leave him alone. And then let's see, I want to add something else. I want to add some bling. I want to add some crystals or some confetti. Let's see. But first some white gel pen. Obviously I'm doing everything backwards, because once you add things like your glossy accents or stickers, it's a little bit more difficult to go in with a white gel pen without smudging everything. But you know, why make life easy, right? So anyway, I'm trying to add a few gel pen detail. These are Sakura white jelly roll pens, and I think I will skip, I wanted to add some glossy accent here on the glass, but I will skip that for two reasons. Well, for actually one reason only. Which is I added the glaze pen already, so I'm afraid I'm going to I'm afraid the glossy accents are going to smudge the pen. So now, how to fix mistakes? In this case I had smudged my black glaze pen, and what I'm trying to do, and I hope I will not completely ruin this card, is I'm using my white gel pens to create this little white spot around his eye, so it looks like it's a spot in the fur, and so that it makes more sense, I'm going to add a couple more in other areas. And this way I kind of fixed the shape of his eyes a little bit. So let's see. Let's say it worked. Let's say this was a successful fix of an accident. Let me just grab my crystals for a second. I wasn't planning on using any, but I have to. So I shall. All my crystals are by Studio Katia. I love them. I think they're super pretty. And I think I'm gonna add some yellow ones. I was going to go for clear, but I think I'm going to go for yellow because they will kind of look like stars. Let's see. So whenever I work with embellishments, I love to use my triangle trays and my Studio Katia embellishment wand. Thanks, Jess. She says good save. Yeah, that's the danger with glaze pens, right? If you smudge them, when you try and change the eyes, it can be a little bit of a mess. I was saying, whenever I work with embellishments, I like to use my Studio Katia embellishment wand and these triangle trays that are also sold by Studio Katia. They are super comfortable. The embellishment wand is like, it's totally a must-have. I think if you like to work with embellishments of any kind, it was presented at Creativation last year. I don't know if Jess remembers, and everybody went completely crazy about it because it is such a great tool. It makes it so easy to work with sequins and crystals and all kinds of embellishments. It's not very expensive at all. I think it's about $10. And again, it works great. The tips are replaceable. So if for any reason this should lose tack, you can always just change the tip without having to purchase the wand all over again. And then, yeah. Well, and also I should mention they are available in different colors, like pink, for example, which I totally want and will eventually get. Okay, just a couple more just to fill in the area. I'm trying not to create like geometrical patterns in a way, or like lines, two straight lines between embellishments, and having a look from high above helps. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm looking through my phone that I have here in front of me, because that gives me kind of a different perspective on the card. Or what you can do is to take a picture and look at the picture, or you can just stand up from your desk and have a look from above. Okay, let's say that I am happy with the way the embellishments are placed on this card, because otherwise I think this is just boring for you to see. Oh, right. You just got one embellishment one too. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, and I have to say that I'm really liking the look of these yellow crystals on the card. I feel like I want more. Anyway, okay, I can always come back later after the live and add a couple extra, but I don't want to bore you with me just endlessly placing crystals. So you can see how easy it is to work with this embellishment wand. You just pick up your crystals or whatever, sequins, confetti, and then you add a little bit of glue to your card. And the moment you place the sequin back and the sequin or embellishment touches the cardstock, it gets immediately released. It's really fuss-free, which is great. Okay, I think that's it for this card and this live stream as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. I definitely always have fun during live streams, and it's always great to chat with you guys. So again, thank you very much for joining me. Stay tuned because I will finish up the list of supplies that I used to create this card. You can also see kind of prettier pictures of this project on my social media in the next days. So yeah, just check out my social media in the description box down below, and I will be back not next week but the week after with another live stream here on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And if that doesn't work, please just leave a comment and let me know, and I'll try to adjust time and day for my live streams so that, you know, we can spend some time together. Again, thank you very much, and big crafty hugs to everybody. Bye.